Hi guys, welcome to my channel Shiva's Tech Up. So in this session we will be looking at various string handling functions that are present in Java. So in last session we have understood the ways of declaring a string, the difference between string, string buffer and string builder. So we will also be looking at some of the string handling functions in this particular session that is used to perform some operations or manipulating the strings in Java. Okay, so the first string handling function is characterAt. So as the name itself indicates, it returns the character that is specified at the given index position. So for example, this is the 0th index, this is the first index, this is the second index, and this is the third index, and this is the fourth index. Now here in this case, you are specifying 0, right? So the character that is present at the 0th index position is h. So that will be returned as an output. So this is characterAt function in Java. So let's look at the codePointAt. So codePointAt returns the Unicode character or Unicode value of the character that is specified at the given index position. So for example, in this case, so I am giving the same index position that is 0, right? So the element that is present or the character that is present at the 0th index is h. So it returns the corresponding Unicode character of capital H or uppercase H. So the Unicode character of uppercase H is nothing but 72. So this will be the output of a codePointAt function. So let's look into the next function, that is codePointBefore. So in the previous function codePointAt, it returns the Unicode character of that particular character present at that particular index position specified. But codePointBefore, as the name itself indicates, it returns the Unicode character or Unicode value of the character that is present before the specified index position. So let us try to understand. So here the specified index position is 1. Now the character or the index position before this one is nothing but 0. Now the character that is present at the 0th position is h. So the same output will be printed. So let us consider one more example. For example, in this case, I am giving it as, for example, 4, right? codePointAt 4, codePointBefore 4. So the character that is present at 4 is nothing but 0 or O, and the character that is present before O is L, right? So it returns the Unicode character of L, right? So that is how we need to understand codePointBefore. So the next function is codePointCount. So it returns the number of Unicode characters based on the starting position and the ending position. So in this case, there are 5 characters in this particular string, right? So if you specify codePointCount with the starting index as 0 and the ending index as 5, so the number of Unicode values that can be formed between 0 and 5 is nothing but 5. So that is what will be printed in the output. So that is codePointCount. So then we will be looking at compareTo function. So what compareTo function does is it compares two strings and returns 0 if both the strings are equal and returns 1 if they are not equal. So what it does, it compares the number of characters as well as the characters that are present, right? So in this case, the characters that are present are the same and the number of characters is also the same. So that is why it will return 0 if they are equal, right? So the next function is compareToIgnoreCase. So the difference between the last function compareTo and compareToIgnoreCase is nothing but it ignores the casing, right? So even though if you give the character as uppercase or lowercase, if the characters are same, then it will consider them as equal. So for example, if you give capital H and small h in this particular example, it considers both the characters are equal. So for example, in place of h, if you give some other character, then it won't consider them as equal. So that is how we need to understand. And so basically, as I said, it compares the Unicode characters and ignores the casing of the alphabet. Now in this case, so the casing of the alphabet is, though it is different, it is ignoring, right? So it will return 0, right? Since they are equal. Now, the next function is concat function. So what it does is it combines one string with another string or concatenates one string with the other string. So here I am specifying two strings, Shiva and Tekab. So if we add a concat function in this way, like string1 dot concat string2, what it does is it will return us with an output Shiva space Tekab, right? So that is what will be printed after combining two strings. So then we will be looking at the contains function. So contains function, what it does is it checks if the given substring is present in the main string or not. So in this case, let us consider our main string like mystr2. Like it checks if that substring, so this particular substring, it is present in the main string or not, right? So this is the main string and this is the substring. It checks if it is present or not. So if we consider mystr2 Shiva space takeup, so mystr1 is nothing but Shiva. So in Shiva space takeup, Shiva is already present. So what it does is it will return true or zero. Okay, so that is how contains works. Then we will be looking at content equals. So it what it does is it compares the contents of two strings along with the length as well as the characters, and it returns true if both are equal, and if it returns false if both are not equal, right? So for example, Shiva and Shiva space taker. So if we compare, so both are not equal, right? So the length of the string 2 is greater than string 1, and the characters that are present in string 2 and string 1 are different. So it will return false in this example. So let us look into copy value of. So what it does is based on the starting index and the ending index specified for one string, it copies the characters that are present in that particular string into the another string. So for example, in this case, we have a character array with, I mean, 5 characters. Okay, so character array with 5 characters. So 0 to 4. Now, I am specifying the index position 0 and 5. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So, basically what it does is it will first fetch the characters that are present from 0 to 5 index from this particular string, str1, and it copies that particular content of characters from 0 to 5 into string 2. So that is what I am writing over here. So initially the string 2 is an empty string, right? Then after copying the values of string 1 from 0 to 5 index, after copying, then what will happen is mystr2 will print as hello. So this is what will be printed in the output. Okay, so since it has copied the values from mystr1 into mystr2. So that is how we need to understand copy value of. So the next function is endsWith. So as the name itself indicates, if the given string ends with the specified character or not, it just checks, right? So for example, we are considering a string hello, right? So then my str is nothing but, so this is the string. We will take this string as an output. Then dot ends with, we will be using ends with, and we will be checking if it ends with HEL or not. So does it end with HEL? No. So it returns false. Let us consider second example. Let us check if it ends with LLO. So this string ends with LLO, right? So it will return true. Now let us check with one more, like if it ends with O or not. So it ends with O, right? It will return true, right? So what ends with function does is it checks if the given character or a sequence of character ends with the given number of characters. Okay, so here we are checking if it ends with the sequence of characters. Here we are just checking if it ends with a single character or not. So that is how we need to understand ends with function in Java. So then we will be looking at equals function. So equals function compares two strings and returns if returns true if both strings are equal and false if they are not equal. So this is again equal to compare to, right? So just that it will return true or false in place of 0 and 1. So here we are taking two strings, right? We are also taking the third string called as another string. So if you try to compare string 1 and string 2, it will return true because both strings are equal. Now if you compare string 1 with string 3 or string 2 with string 3, then it will return false since they are not equal in terms of length and in terms of number of characters. I mean the characters that are present. So then the next function is equals ignore case. So this does the same, just that it ignores the casing of the alphabets that are present in the string. So what it is doing is it is comparing two strings str1 and str2, and here we are specifying the third string str3 like another space string. So what it does is it compares str1 and str2. Okay, so though the casing is different, so the characters that are present and the sequence of characters are the same, so it will return true. So in this case, now if you compare str1 and str3, so though the casing is the same, like first is uppercase and the other are lowercase, the length is different and also the sequence of characters are different, so it will return false. So that is how we need to understand equals ignore case. So next we'll be looking at index of. So what it does is index of is nothing but, for example, you have a string and you are trying to find out the index of a specified substring, right? So what it does is, so hello planet Earth, you are a great planet. So this is the string which I am using. Now I want to get the index of the first occurrence of a given substring planet. So here in this particular sentence, so planet is twice, right? So this is the first occurrence and this is the second occurrence. Now whenever you are using index of function and pass this planet string, so what it does is it returns the first index position of first occurrence of this particular word. So let me write it down. First index position of first occurrence of the given substring. Okay, so that is how we need to understand. Okay, so in this case the first occurrence is nothing but planet and the index position is 0 1 2 3 4 5 and 6, sixth position. So 6 will be printed in the output. So that is how we need to understand index of. Then we will be looking at isEmpty function. So this is the simplest of all the string handling functions. It will check if the given string is empty or not. It returns true if it is empty. It returns false if it is not empty, right? So in this case, mystr1 is hello. So if you try to use isEmpty function with mystr1, it will return false because it is not empty, and mystr2, it is empty, so it will return true. So this will return false and this will return true. Okay, so that is how we need to understand isEmpty function. Then we will be looking at the last index of. So we in the earlier slide we looked into index of. So this is last index of. So we will consider the same string. So what it does is, so the number of occurrences are 2, right, of this particular given string planet. So for example, whenever you use last index of function, it returns the first index position of last occurrence of this particular planet. So this is the first occurrence of the given string planet, and this is the second or the last occurrence of the given string planet, right? Second occurrence. So what it does, it returns the index position of this particular p, right? So that is how we need to understand last index of function. So then we will be looking at length. So length is the most widely used function, string handling functions. So it is used to find out the number of characters that are present in a given string. So basically, if you consider this particular string, so whenever you use length function, it counts the number of characters including the spaces. Okay, so here there are, I think, 1, 2, 3, and 4. 4 spaces and a dot, right? And a full stop. So it also counts full stop as well as spaces and also the characters, and it will return you with the final length. Okay, so this is how we need to understand length function in Java. Then we'll be looking at replace function. So as the name itself indicates, it replaces one character with another character. Okay, so this is the character which you want to replace. So this position is the character which you want to replace, and this is the character with which you want to replace. Okay. So in this case, this is the given string. Like I want to replace the character, or I want to replace space. So this represents an empty space. So wherever you are encountering space, you want to replace that space with this particular character. This is underscore. Okay, so what will be printed? So this will be printed as an output. So hello, then underscore, because it will replace the space with underscore, then welcome underscore to underscore Shiva underscore take up. So this is how we will be replacing one character with another character whenever the occurrence of that particular character is encountered. So let's look into the next function, that is split. So the split function, as the name itself indicates, it is used to split the given main string into series of substrings based on the character specified. So in this case, I want to split this particular main string into a series of strings by using space. I mean, so wherever you encounter space, so it will divide that particular string. Okay. So now here in this example, I am trying to split this particular string by using space, right? So now after splitting, so this will become the first substring, and this will become the second substring, this will become the third, and this will become the fourth, and this will become the fifth. So this is how we need to understand. So this is the you can consider as zeroth substring, and this is the first substring, and this is the second substring, this is the third substring, and this is the fourth substring. So this is how we need to understand. Now if you try to print, for example, my str of, for example, 2, right? So this will return you with 2. So this will be printed. Now if you try to print my str of 3, then this will be printed. So that this is how we need to understand split function in Java. So then we'll be looking at a starts with function. So starts with function checks if the particular main string starts with the specified character or a specified sequence of characters. So in this case, I am considering this particular string. Hello, welcome to Shiva's Tech Hub. So I want to check if this particular main string starts with a given character, right? H. So I am trying to check if this particular string starts with a character H. Yes, it starts with a specified character H. So in this case, it will return true. So for example, in place of H, if I try to use W, it will return false, because this particular main string doesn't starts with a character W. Okay, so that is how we need to understand starts with function in Java. Then we will be looking at a two character array. So basically, whenever you have a string, and if you want to convert this particular string into a sequence of characters or an array of characters, so then what it does is it will return, I mean, the specified characters, right? So mystr dot two character array. So what it does is it will divide this particular string into an individual characters. So H is the first character, E is the second character, L third, L fourth, O fifth, and space sixth, and so on. Okay, so it will return you with the number of characters. So then we'll be looking at a toLowerCase function. So the toLowerCase function is used to convert all the characters, okay, into the lowercase. So for example, in this particular string, main string, H is in uppercase, W is in lowercase, S is in uppercase, and T is in uppercase. So all these are in uppercase. So whatever I have marked. So whenever you use this function, irrespective of what is in uppercase or what is in lowercase, it converts all the characters into the lowercase. Okay, so what it does is it prints all the lowercase characters, or it prints the strings in the lowercase character. Okay, so that is how we need to understand the toLowerCase function. So this is exactly the opposite. So toUpperCase function, it will convert all the characters of a given string into uppercase. Okay, so that is how we need to understand uppercase. Then we'll be looking at a trim. So the trim function mainly it is used to remove the leading spaces and the trailing spaces if there are any from a given string. So for example, if you consider this string, so there are two spaces before the starting point of this particular string and two spaces after the ending point of this particular string. Now, whenever you use trim, so it will remove all these spaces that is before the start of this particular string and after the end of this particular string, and it will be just return this particular string as an output. So that is how we need to understand trim function. Okay, so now we'll be looking at different string handling functions along with an example program. So I have already copied it under these block comments. So these are the string handling functions which we'll be looking at, and we'll try to understand each with an example. Okay, so this is my string. So whatever I have taken. So welcome to my channel Shiva Space Tech Up. So we are going to perform some operations on this particular string by using the string handling functions. So first string handling function is characterit, so which takes a integer value as a parameter. So let us look into that, how it works. So system.out.println characterit, so we can just title dot characterit. So for example, I want to get the value of the character that is present at the third index position. Okay, so for that, so this is how we need to write. So string dot character that is present at the third index position, that is nothing but 3. C. So let us check. So character at C is printed, right? So the character that is present at third index position is C, right? So let us look into the next string handling function, that is codePointAt. As I said, like it returns the Unicode character of the character that is present at the specified index. So codePointAt, so title dot codePointAt the index position. So for example, let me try to find out the Unicode value of the character W, capital W. So run as, okay, so this is the Unicode value of capital W. So that is what it is printed. Okay. So let us try to understand the next string handling function, that is codePointBefore. Okay, so the codePointBefore, what it does is, for example, if you are specifying any index position and it returns the Unicode character of the character that is present before the specified index position. So for example, let us try to understand it. codePointBefore. So for example, in the last example, we have given 0, right? So as the code point character. So this time we will try to give 1. Even though if you give 1, since we are using code point before, so it returns you with the Unicode character of the character that is present at the index position, right? Before that index position. So before 1, the index position is 0. So it should return the Unicode character of W in this case as well. So let us try to understand by executing it. So if you see here, the code point at is nothing but 0. W code point is 87. Here code point before of the first index. So first index is nothing but this is the first index. E is the first index, but we are using code point before. So before this particular index, it is nothing but W. So again, it has printed the same Unicode character for W. So that is how we need to understand. Okay, println. So code point count plus title dot code point count. So it takes two integer values as parameters. One is the beginning index, the other is the end index. So first beginning index, let us give it as 0, and the end index is nothing but, for example, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I want to give it as 6. So what will be the output? You will be getting 6 code points in between 0 to 6, right? So that is what it should be printed. So there is nothing great in this particular function. It just returns the range between the starting point and ending point. So codePointCount is nothing but 6. So let us try to understand the next string handling function, that is compareTo. So as I said, it compares two strings. So for example, title dot compareTo. So for example, I want to compare it with some other string. So for example, I want to compare it with the same string. In this case, the comparison will be true, right? So let us check what it will be printed. So compareTo function, if it is true, then it will print 0. If it is false, then it will print 1. So let me change this. Let me manipulate this. So let me add one more word on top of the existing string. So in this case, it should be, the character other than 0, right? It can be 1 or it can be some random character. If it is equal, then it will print 0. Okay, so let me again change this. Now it should print 0. If it is not equal, then it will print some random value like -11, -15, some. Okay, so that is what compareTo does. Then the next thing is compareToIgnoreCase. So for example, so let me write it down, ignore case. So this is the function. Title dot compareToIgnoreCase. So in this case, what I will be doing is I will be printing the same string but in uppercase letters, right? Welcome to channel Shiva Take Up. So this is what I am trying to do. So the string is same, but the casing is different. So as the name itself indicates, it ignores the casing and it will check the sequence of characters and number of characters. If it is true, then it will print 0. If it is false, then it will print some random character, right? So let us try to execute it. Okay, so since it has ignored the casing and the characters are same, so it has printed 0. So what I will do is I will just change it. So I'll just change some, I will add some word on top of the existing string. So it has printed -11. So it means like they are not equal. So if you are not seeing 0 in the output, then it means like they are not equal. So that is how you need to understand. So this is compareTo ignore case. So what is the next function? Concatenation. So as the name itself indicates, concatenation is nothing but it combines one string with another string, right? So let me do it. Concat title dot concat of another string, right? So repository of technical information. So what is this trying to do is, now title is nothing but one which has welcome to my channel Shiva space tech hub, right? Then what it does is it concatenates this particular string that we have already mentioned under title with this particular string, right? So the output will be welcome to my channel Shiva Tech Hub space repository of technical information. So that is what it will be printed, right? If you see here, so let me maximize this. So welcome to my channel Shiva space Tech Hub. Then it has concatenated this particular string with the new string which I have specified. Okay, so that is how we need to understand the concat function. Okay, so let me look into the next string handling function. So after concat, it is nothing but contains. So what contains function does is it checks if that particular substring is present in the main string or not. So let us try to understand that. So contains So this is the function. Then title dot contains, so character sequence. So for example, I want to check if this particular string consists of text Shiva, right? I want to check if it has a word Shiva in this particular main string. Okay, so let us check what it will return. True. Yes, that particular text is present. Now what I will do is I will try to check if it is present or not. It should be false, right? So that particular text is not present. That particular character sequence is not present. So it will print false. So that is how we need to understand contains function in Java. Sorry. Then we'll be looking at a content equals. So it is also used as a comparison function that compares two strings, right? So content equals title dot content equals. For example, I want to just compare it with Shiva. So it should be not equal, right? So let us check. So content equals is false. Now what I can do is I will just try to add this entire thing. In this case, it should be true, right? Because the contents are equal, right? True as printed. So that is how we need to understand content equals. So copy of, right? Copy value of. So here, what we can do is let us try to print. So copy value of okay, so this copy value of mainly works for a character array. So let me take a character array ch equal to l l o. So I have taken these characters. So I want to copy the characters that are present in this particular character array from 0th index position to 5th index position and store it in some another string str2. Okay, so initially let us consider it is null. So it is an empty string. Now what I will try to do is using this copy value of function, I will try to copy the contents of these characters like 0 to 5th character into this particular string. So what I can do is, so for example, str2 dot copy value of, so you can add it as ch 0 to 5. So this is how it will work, right? So let us try to print the value of str2, right? So let us check it. Okay, so copy value of hello. So it has printed hello, right? So it is already copied the value of that particular string and it has entered all those characters and copied it into string2. So that is what it has printed. Okay, so this is copy value of. Then let's look at endsWith. So this is used to check if a particular string ends with some specified character sequence. So let us check how it works. ends with. So for example, let me take this particular example. I want to take this string and check if this complete string ends with this particular character sequence or a string. So the answer should be true, right? So it is ending with that particular word. So it is true. Now what I can do is I will try to print it if it ends with Shiva, which is false, right? It doesn't end with Shiva. It ends with TechHub. So run as. Okay, so it has printed false. So this is how you need to understand endsWith. So it is used to check if that particular main string ends with the particular character sequence or a single character. Okay, so you can also do it with a single character. Okay, so let us look into the next function after ends with equals. So this is also used to compare two strings if they are equal or not, right? So title dot equals take up. So they are not equal, right? Because we are comparing this title string, which is welcome to my channel, Shiva space take up with only take up. So it should be false, right? So it is not equal. So it is false. So if I try to enter this entire text, it will be true, right? It has printed true. So that is how we need to understand equals. Now the second function is equals ignore case, right? So let me copy because it works the same way, just that it ignores the casing, right? Equals ignore case, equals ignore case. So for example, I will just give this as capital letters. So what it does is it ignores if it is uppercase or lowercase. It just compares the sequence of characters and the number of characters if both are equal or not. So in this case, though the casing of channel is different, but the character sequence that is present in this particular string as well as this particular string both are same. So it will be true. Run as Java application. Okay, true. So it has printed true. Okay, so the next function which we'll be looking at is indexOf. So as the name itself indicates, it is used to print the character position that is present in that particular string, right? Index of, for example, I want to get the index of the character 6, right? Character that is, sorry, index of, for example, E, right? Character should be given as an input. So index of E is nothing but 6. So 6 should be printed. My God, why it has printed one index of. Okay, so here what it is trying to do is it is trying to get the first index position of the specified character. So here there are multiple E's in this particular string. So it has by default written the first occurrence position, right? So which is expected. So let me try to do it for W. Yes, index of W is nothing but 0, right? So it is working as expected. So the next function which we will be looking at is empty. So is empty, as the name itself indicates, it checks if the given string is empty or not. If it is empty, it will return true. If it is not empty, then it will return false. So is empty. So it is used to just check if that particular, so the string is not empty. So it has written false. If it is empty, it will return true. So that is how you need to understand. So let's look into the next function, last index of. last index of. So for example, I want to get the index of E. I mean, so if you see in this particular title string, there are multiple E's, right? 1, 2, 3, and 4. So there are 4 E's. Last index of E is nothing but it returns the character position of the last occurrence of the specified character. So in this case, the last occurrence of E is nothing but over here. So let us try to get that position, right? Last index of position. So it is 29. So it is present at the 29th position in this particular string. So that is how we need to understand last index of function. So the next function is one of the most important function in all the string handling functions, because normally whenever you are doing any manipulations or anything, this is what you are going to use at the first statement to get the number of characters that are present in that particular string. So length is the method, title dot length. So it will return you with the number of characters including spaces. It also counts the spaces as a single character. So run as. Okay, so there are total 35 characters in this particular string, including spaces, right? So this is length. Then replace. So replace is nothing but if you want to replace any character with some other character, so that you can do. So for that, it just accepts three characters, sorry, two characters. So wherever one is the character which you want to replace, and the second character is with which you want to replace, right? So title dot replace. So for example, I want to replace Shiva with capital Shiva, right? With uppercase. Okay, so let us try to check it. Run as. So welcome to my channel, Shiva. So the lowercase Shiva has been replaced with uppercase, right? So that is how the replace function works. Now let us try to understand the split function in Java. So split, let me write it down over here. Dot split. So basically the split function is used to divide this particular main string by using some regular expression. In this case, I am trying to divide this particular string by using space. So this is the space. So what it will form is it will form a character array of, so I mean string array of these many strings, substrings 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, right? So for example, after, so we will be getting 6 strings. So first let us try to execute it. Run as. So if you see here, you won't be understanding it this particular form. So now I want, so internally it has created 6 strings, right? 6 substrings from this main string after splitting. Now I want to get the second string, right? 0, 1, 2, right? My. So you can just add it as this. So what it does is it will return you with the second string, my, because it has splitted, right? So for example, I want to get the string that is present at 4th in the string array after splitting. So Shiva will be printed. So that is how we need to understand the split function. It is mainly used to divide that particular string by using some regular expression. So starts with, like we have already seen a function called as ends with. So it is exactly the opposite. It checks whether that a particular main string starts with a specified character sequence. So let us try to understand. Starts with, starts with. So you can specify something like uh, welcome. So it starts with welcome, right? Welcome to my channel, Shiva's Tech Up. So it is starting with welcome. So it should print true. So it has printed true. So now let me check if, so this should print as false because it doesn't start with welcomes. Okay, so this is how we need to understand starts with. Now the next is converting a string into a series of character array, right? So let me use this function. Okay, so what it does is it will convert this particular string into series of characters. The first character, second character, third character, and so on. Okay, so let us try to print. Okay, so this is printing like some random thing. So whenever if you want to get the character that is present at a specified position, you can always get it, right? So second character. So L, right? So welcome 0, 1, 2, right? Second character after converting this into the character array. So for example, I want to get this first character. So it starts with 0, right? So if I specify 0, in this case, W should be printed, right? W is printed. So that is how we need to understand two character array function. Now the remaining functions are simple, like it is used to convert the uppercase into lowercase. Whatever characters that are there in the uppercase, it converts them into the lowercase. So for example, title dot to lowercase. So in this particular example, there are few characters that are in uppercase. So for example, W is in uppercase, S is in uppercase, T is in uppercase. So all these are uppercase characters. Now, whenever you use this particular function, it will convert all these characters, irrespective of whether they are in uppercase or lowercase. It will convert the entire string into the lowercase. So let us try to execute it. See, W it was capital letter, right? So it has converted it into small letter. Then channel it was entire capital letter. It has converted into small lowercase. Then S was capital. It has converted into lowercase. So that is what it will do, two lowercase. And two uppercase is nothing but it will convert all the characters of that particular string into the uppercase. So title dot to uppercase, right? So uppercase letters will be printed. Yeah, see, all the characters are in uppercase. Then let us look into trim. So trim function generally it removes the leading spaces and the trailing spaces. So let us try to understand this. So for example, in this case, we do have three spaces. Okay, so this is what leading space and the trailing space. So let us use trim. So title dot trim. So what it does is it removes the trailing spaces, these spaces, and also these spaces after this particular string, and it will print only this particular string, right, in the output. Right, so it has removed all these strings that are present before that particular string and after that particular string, and it is printed by removing them. So these are the most widely used string handling functions in Java. That's it for this video, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe to my channel Shiva's Tech Hub, and get notified to the future updates. And also don't forget to share it on various social media platforms. Thank you.